People have been convinced for quite some time now that in order for them to be successful in any way, shape, or form, you need to go to college for 4 years and get a degree. That degree, depending on where you go to acquire it, will cost you up to $100,000 or more. Too expensive? You say, well, don't worry about that. You see, you got these financial institutions everywhere, ready and willing to give you a loan so that you can fulfill your dreams. Yeah, they'll loan you the $100K no problem and charge you a nice low interest rate to go along with it because, of course, they really care about you. Once you get that wonderful degree and go out into the real world to get a job, you might land yourself a good 40 to 50K per year gig, which is absolutely going to help you pay off that loan in no time. If you've been duped into believing this path is the only way to success, then I challenge you to step outside the matrix for a bit and explore a new path. We are probably one of the most fortunate generations to be alive at a time when information is readily available to us at all times. It's a game changer. I was also duped into believing that college and a degree was the only way to success until I woke up with over 20K of loan debt after just one semester. I thought to myself, there's no way I'm going to keep racking up my debt like this, or else I'll be paying this for the rest of my life. So I dropped out. One of the best decisions I ever made, as it forced me to look for alternative ways to succeed in any job or business. I came to realize that most companies out there that are hiring, they don't really care about your degree. They care about your capabilities, in essence, your skill set and experience. Do you have what it takes to do the job well, and are you going to be a good culture fit in the company? That's it. That's all they want to know. Are you worth the investment for them? As I got further experience in the workforce, this became more and more evident. So I began acquiring skills that would make me more valuable in the market. Time after time, I would beat out my highly college-educated competition with fancy degrees very easily. And I don't say that to brag, I say that to prove a point. Depending on what your view of success is, you don't need a college degree or a degree to get you there. You just need highly profitable skills that will always be in demand by the job market. In this week's episode, I'm going to give you a list of 4 highly profitable skills that can land you any job you want. Not only that, but I'm going to give you a resource to learn that skill so that you can start taking action right away. Let's go. What's going on, fellas? Welcome to Alpha Dad Consulting. I am your host, Vidal, here to serve millennial dads by providing them with all the tools and resources they need to create the family life they want. Today, we are exploring 4 highly profitable skills that have the potential to get you a higher paying job or even push you to want to start your own business. One of the biggest struggles I see millennial dads facing is that they feel stuck at a job or a dead-end job, or feel stuck in their earning potential, meaning that they don't believe that they have what it takes to make more money. Or even worse, they think that they have to go back to school to get a degree that will allow them to earn more money. Maybe back in the 80s or 90s, that would have been true. But in our information age, the digital age, it's no longer a factor. You can acquire a lot of skills out on your own, either via the internet or books, from online courses, consulting, coaching, YouTube, and even podcasts. You can acquire skills from a multitude of places that don't involve you getting into 100K worth of debt. The problem nowadays is that we have too much information available to us. So a lot of us don't know where to begin. So I'm going to give you 4 skills today, and I'm going to show you where to get them. So let's get started. The skill number 1 is the ability to learn fast. Over the past 2 decades, technology has been advancing at a rapid rate. And as it continues to advance, it will only go faster, which means that your ability to adapt and learn fast will be an essential skill for you to have. For my guys that are handymen and are scared of software and technology, Why not be good at both? I always get these guys that say they like building things with their hands and that they're not good at tech. Bruh, you you literally use your hands to operate tech, and when you create something digital, you are still creating something. Why put yourself at a disadvantage out in the market? With that being said, in school, they taught you what to learn, but it's rare that you were taught how to learn. All my life, I've hated school, but I've always loved education. I came to the realization that the only way to advance in life and become successful is through what you actually know and are capable of. You can only increase your capabilities by learning something you didn't know before. This is why I'm a big fan of reading, because it literally expands my knowledge, which further expands my skill set and ultimately makes me more valuable. While most people are there complaining and whining about reading a freaking book, I'm over here seeing dollar signs on my bookshelf because all of that applied knowledge has the potential to make me more money. With more money, my family and I have more options. We are in a better position to make moves like the one we just did, where we moved from California to Texas. On top of that, we're in a better position to actually help friends and family monetarily when needed without expecting anything in return. All of this happens with your acquisition of valuable skills. One of the most beneficial skills is the ability to learn fast. However, in order to do that, you have to learn how to learn. Yes, I understand this is kind of meta, but bear with me for a moment. How efficiently can you consume a new piece of information and internalize it and make it your own? If you're not very good at that, or if your memory is not great, it's okay. You can train your brain to get good at these things. Now, I have a resource for you on how to do that. It's a book called Limitless by a guy named Jim Quick. This guy had a brain injury as a child, and some teachers would call him the kid with the broken brain. Yet, against all odds, he is now literally a brain coach who teaches you how to speed read effectively and memorize things quickly. His book is a great start to get you exposed to some of his techniques. Two quick tips that I'll give you from his book when it comes to reading in order to consume things faster. One is that whenever you're reading, use your finger or a pen as sort of a guide tool, I should say, to place as a focal point for your eyes. Hover over the words you read almost like you're underlining the text you're reading. It'll feel a little weird at first, but over time, it'll start making you more focused when you read. The second tip is to try to read as fast as you can. Don't go slow or else you'll get distracted. The way Jim describes this, it's almost like when you're driving a car, right? If you're just cruising and taking your time, your mind tends to wander and get distracted. But when you're going 90 miles per hour, or you're on a racetrack, right? You better believe that you're going to be a lot more focused. Reading faster sort of triggers your brain to be more alert and focused on the data it's processing. Acquire this skill of learning fast, and you'll be amazed at how all that knowledge starts to drive up your bank account if applied properly. Skill number 2 is effective communication. There's a lot of men out there that are great speakers, but horrible communicators, meaning they can put a sentence together and make it sound good, but they don't know how to get their point across in order for it to be truly understood. The other component these smooth talkers miss is intentional listening, right? Which is a crucial part of communication. You might know somebody at work that loves to talk, and that's really all they do. But just because he or she loves to talk doesn't mean people like to listen. To be skilled in effective communication, you need to be able to read people, and you need to be intentional with your listening. Before you speak, you should have some awareness of your audience. What words should you use to captivate them and make them understand the message you are trying to convey? When they respond to you, are you truly listening and being present in what they're saying, or are you just thinking about what you're going to say next? Most people communicate very selfishly. It's all about them and how they feel during the conversation. Even when somebody tries to make a point or have the last word in a conversation, it puts that selfishness on full display. It happens with married couples all the time when they argue over who's right and who's wrong. To be a skilled communicator, you have to understand certain dynamics, reading the person's verbal and nonverbal cues, using the right words tailored to them to get your point across, and then getting confirmation that they've understood what you've said to them in exactly the way you wanted them to understand it. And when they respond, listening with intentional interest, right? And seeking to understand what they're actually saying. All these are key elements to effective communication. And if you can get good at this, then you have yourself a very valuable skill. You can go into an interview for any job and speak with confidence when you answer their questions. You'll be able to have deeper and more meaningful conversations with those you care about. This skill can be leveraged to become a great storyteller, which just naturally makes you a more influential communicator. Your ability to ask powerful questions increases, which gives you an edge in conversations and allows you to take charge of conversations. Not only that, but your ability to write increases also, which is something every business cannot function without. You will stand out if you develop this skill. So the question is, how do you actually acquire it? Well, truthfully, all of these skills will only be mastered with practice. But in order to practice, you need to learn some communication fundamentals. There's two books that I'll recommend for this. One is a book called How to Win Friends and Influence People by Dale Carnegie. Gives you some great key points on effective communication and influence. And it's filled with plenty of examples from historical figures that use these methods to attain results they wanted. Now, the other book I'll mention is one called Coactive Coaching. This is a resource for coaches, but there's a lot of gold in here on how to listen with intent and how to ask powerful conversation leading questions. Always remember that he who asks the questions in any conversation is the one controlling the conversation. The better you get at asking questions, the more people like to talk to you. It's funny how that works. This skill of being an effective communicator is extremely valuable to the market and has the potential to make you a lot more money if wielded correctly. Number 3 is the ability to lead. Everyone wants to be seen as a leader for the notoriety, but very few actually want to put in the work to develop leadership skills. Being in a position of leadership is extremely difficult, whether it be in a work environment or in a family. It's a lot of responsibility. And if you don't train yourself to handle that responsibility well, you will either burn out or give up, or you'll pass up the opportunity of being a leader just to not be burdened. Despite how hard leadership can be, it is a desired skill and one that is absolutely worth acquiring. It's the reason CEOs and COOs get paid so much in large companies. They make the big decisions that propel the business forward and take on the biggest risks. In a family, if the man is fully present in that leadership role, his decisions have an extreme effect on the family. Even if he's not stepping up and being a leader, his wife and kids are still looking at him for guidance. And if he sucks as a leader, he will still lead them somewhere. It just may not be a place any of them really want to go. A good leader tends to be a good mentor, someone that can teach and help develop those that follow him. A good leader is influential, not bossy or demanding. He leads by example and doesn't have the need to be validated by others or to announce to the world that he is a leader. It's just something that's evident by how he leads his own life. He accepts criticism, and if it's constructive, he adheres to the feedback in order to make himself a better leader. A good leader is obsessed with constant improvement and self-development. In my own life, within my circle of family and friends, I've become the man a lot of them rely on for help. I get the calls when stuff goes down, whether it's monetary aid, family consulting, business advice, etc. I am a resource now that can provide value in several areas of life. Some men do not want to be the guy everyone comes to when they need help. In my mind, that's the best type of man to be. It should give you confirmation as a man that you are doing something right with your life and demonstrating leadership skills. If you want to develop as a leader in any setting, one of the best recommendations I can give you is to pick up a book titled The 21 Irrefutable Laws of Leadership by John C. Maxwell. This man has been studying leadership for a good portion of his life and has fulfilled the leadership role in many different settings, from churches to companies. He's done it all. This is one of the reasons why I'm a big fan of books. Books condense lifelong experiences and lessons into 200 pages that you can consume in 1 week. What may have taken John C. Maxwell to learn in multiple decades, you can learn in a fraction of the time. Think about how much of an advantage that is for you. But it's only an advantage if you learn what he teaches and apply it. Don't sleep on leadership skills. You are going to need them if you want to advance professionally and personally. And lastly, skill number 4, the ability to sell. This one is such an extremely valuable skill, but most people brush it off simply because the word sales or selling has such a negative connotation. You probably picture that sleazy car salesman that promises you the world on the car he's trying to sell you, right? He tells you that you're getting a great deal, that it's covered under warranty, bumper to bumper, that stain in the back seat is just a part of the new design. Don't worry about it. This is the guy I used to picture in my head when anyone mentioned to me that I should get into sales. It wasn't until I started getting exposed into the world of entrepreneurship that I began to understand how important this skill really is. And it's not so much because the skill is connected to money. It's more so the idea that we are constantly selling all the time without knowing it. The word sale or sell derives from a Scandinavian word that means to serve. Other translations say to give or to deliver, but I really like to serve because I believe it embodies that what this skill is meant to accomplish, right? Which is, you see, for you to reap the benefit of any product or service, someone has to sell you on it. For you to allow a person into your life as a friend or business partner, that person has to sell you on it. For me to eat at a restaurant that I've never eaten at before, I need to be sold on it. In all of these examples, you need to be convinced that whatever the thing or person is, that it's going to serve to benefit you in some way, shape, or form, right? And in exchange for that benefit, you will have to pay a price in order to obtain it. Sometimes the cost is money, right? Other times it's time and energy. There's always a cost associated in a sale transaction, even the ones that don't involve money at all. So why is this skill so important? It's because being effective at it allows you to serve others in a greater capacity by leveraging persuasion. Now, I know what some of you will say, well, isn't that manipulation? No, manipulation means you are trying to control that person and make them do what you want them to do by any means necessary. Persuasion with positive intent means that you are trying to convince someone that whatever the thing is will benefit them, will serve them in some way, ultimately making their life better. If my younger brother was a heavy drinker and drug abuser, I would want to sell him on the idea that being sober and staying away from the drugs and alcohol would be extremely beneficial to him. My intention is completely pure because I want to see my brother healthy and in a better state. But if I don't have the skill to sell him on this, it's going to be difficult for me to persuade him. This is kind of an extreme example, and no, my brother is not an alcoholic drug addict, but I think you see my point. The ability to sell can benefit you greatly in different areas of your life. Even in a job setting, when you go for an interview, you got to sell the employer on you, right? The price for them is the salary they got to pay you, and the benefit for them is the work you will produce. I hope you're starting to see the bigger picture when it comes to being good at sales, right? If you really want to brush up on this skill, one of the resources I recommend is a book called Socratic Selling by Kevin Daly. It walks you through techniques on how to use the Socratic method of asking questions to sell. Great salesmen know how to lead conversations with powerful questions, which leads the prospect to a conclusion, which then causes that person to make a decision. Buy or not buy, or think about it and buy later, right? The ability to sell will definitely make you a more capable man and will allow you to put more money in your pocket. Now, all of these skills that I've shared with you sort of stack on top of one another. Your ability to learn fast allows you to consume and internalize more information. With more knowledge, you become an effective communicator because now you actually have something to say. When you have something to say, people pay attention and you become viewed as a leader. And in order to lead effectively, it's important to be persuasive, and you can do that through the skill of selling. These 4 skills alone, if you put the energy and time necessary to develop them, they will change your life. Every company in the world wants people that excel at these skills. If you want to start your own business, you'll need these skills. Even within your own family, they will serve you to be a better man, father, and husband. All right, that's going to wrap it up for this week's episode, guys. Do me a favor, if you got some value from this, please share it with someone that needs it. And if you're watching this on YouTube, please like and subscribe. All of the book resources I mentioned on this episode should be linked in the description below. If you're listening to the podcast, please consider leaving me a review. And if you're interested in accessing these book resources as well, please go to alphadadconsulting.com/resources. Again, that's alphadadconsulting.com/resources, and check out the books I mentioned here and more. All right, my fellow Alpha Dad, I'll catch you on the next one.